Hey guys, so I got an interesting question of why is my powdery ice turning out wet and slushy and not turning out powdery. So I wanted to do a whole video tutorial on why that might be happening, and I actually wanted to do this. So the reason why, I'll just say in a nutshell and I'll show you. The reason why your powdery ice is not turning out powdery and fluffy is because of the ice. A lot of y'all told me that that y'all freeze the blender and you blend the ice up and it's still wet and then it gets hard and doesn't work anymore. It's because the ice is too young. Ironically, ice needs to be kind of old. That's the funny part. If ice is super young, it makes really wet, slushy ice and it will never get fluffy. So I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about. That's why I got my ice maker on right now. I'll show y'all real fast. So this is my Igloo ice machine and it's all young ice. You see all that nice young ice? Looks good, great for eating. Like, that's gonna be wonderful to just chew on. I'm looking forward to getting some of that. But I want to show y'all the difference between old ice and young ice for a cold blender, and y'all see why it's turned out like that for y'all. So hopefully this helps. Okay, so there's my frozen blender. It's even stuck on there. Wow. Okay, let's scoop up our new ice and add it to our blender. Freshly made new ice and blend it up. And I want to show you the difference. Now this is a nice frozen blender with just new ice in it. And then we're going to refreeze the blender and I'll show y'all what dry ice looks like. Look at this, guys. So it's new ice in a frozen blender, and look at that. This is trash. Not trash, but I'll show you how we restore this. But look, it didn't even blend it up. It's super wet. It couldn't blend it. Look at how wet this is. It's stuck. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Yep. You can't use this for nothing. I mean, you can eat it now. It's no problem if you eat it now. But if you put this in the freezer, it will never be powdery. It'll just turn into an ice block. Yeah, look at that. This is probably what's been happening to y'all guys. Y'all probably been getting ice that looks like this and been really sad because it's not powdery. It's wet. Can't nothing with it. You can eat it right now. You can eat it right now. I'm going to get a little bite. This ice is only good for eating right now. So good. But you can taste the water. I'm drinking the juice right now. Okay, so if your ice turns out like this, the way to restore it, I'll show you what to do with this. When your ice turns out super wet like this because your ice is too young. As you saw, I just pulled it out of my ice maker. This is what's going to look like. Even day-old ice might still come out like this. So you're going to need to leave your ice, like start making ice like right now. And you need to leave it in there. For me, I used to leave it in there for like 4 days. Like the ice like sitting there and really dry out. It depends on how cold your freezer is. Also, if you make igloo ice like I'm making igloo ice, I put it in a bag and let it sit for about 3 days. And if you have, the best is if you have a refrigerator for ice maker, it's going to always be cold and it's going to always make it. It's probably what's been happening. You've probably been watching people make powdery ice and like, how can we just pull it out and do it? Because the refrigerator is going straight into the refrigerator. I mean, like the freezer. So it's going to always be really, really cold. It never has that melting time. It never has it. It's always cold. So if you have a refrigerator that makes ice all the time, you're pretty good. It's probably going to always be powdery and ready and old for you. So if your ice turns out all wet and slushy, let me show you what you just do with it. Okay, so you take the wet ice like this, right? Just dump it. Look, it's nothing but a block of, it's not powdery at all. You see that? It's not powdery at all. It's just like a block of water. Break it up with your hands. Like a little bit, kind of take into little ballies. Just try to make it like broken up, make it flat. And then put this into the freezer. You see that? Put your wet ice into the freezer. And then once it's dry, let it sit in there for a couple of days to let it really like dry up. Even leave the bag open. It's going to be super crispy and super hard. And then you just put it back into the blender. Once it's super crispy, super dry, and super hard, you just put it back into your frozen blender and your wet ice is saved. Simple as that. Now, let's get started and I'll show y'all what dry old ice can look like and how the difference between watery, fresh, new ice versus dry old ice. Let me show y'all. Let's eat an igloo ice. I have to eat one. You can even taste how wet it is. Super easy to eat. And here's my old ice. This ice has been sitting in there for several days. Okay. So as y'all can see, with nice old ice, look at that, super fluffy, perfect ice. You see how fluffy that is with old ice? Look at that, guys. That's perfect ice. With nice old ice, it's perfect. Super powdery. That's basically it, guys. That's amazing. I'm going to store the rest of it. Another bite for y'all. Look at that powder. So good. Very good. I hope this tutorial has helped y'all understand what's going on with your ice. I hope that your next ice turns out super fluffy. Make sure that you let your ice sit in there for a while so it get nice and old and it won't be full of water. Tell me in the comments if this helped. Okay, guys. Bye. There we go. That is so, gosh, that's so beautiful. We're gonna put it in the refrigerator, freezer, I mean. Okay.